All right, we got it to work. I'm sorry for the weird start if it was super quiet. Yeah, that was weird. We were all set up, ready to go, and then I went to start it, and it just wouldn't start. Um, so I have to essentially pull everything back up now because I didn't think we were having a stream, but we are now, and that's pretty awesome. So welcome to the Scotty Might Know podcast, the most okayest sports podcast in the world, and that is true yet again with the technical difficulties and all this stuff. That has been going on. I've got to pull up all the notes again and everything that we were going on. Boom. Oh, I love the ability to like restore like windows and stuff back to what you were looking at. Okay. So, episode 7, we're live. And I'm going to turn this down. There we go. That's better. I want to start off today. Nope, that's not better because now I'm just only bright on one side of my face. With talking about the Tom Brady official, actual, legit retirement, it sounds like this time. So, what I kind of liked about it is that he didn't make it this huge thing yet again, and he kind of acknowledged, like, you really only get to do that one time, and that was a good move by him. And so he retires over an Instagram video. And so now we're living in an NFL world where Tom Brady is not going to be playing on an NFL team. And it'll be the first time in my conscious... Oh, I'm sorry about that. I've been trying to work on my stream stuff. In my conscious NFL fan life, that Tom Brady won't be playing football. And that is crazy. So, it's gonna be interesting. Obviously, it's like I don't know because usually a team with Tom Brady on it means that they're one of the championship favorites, and so just quickly for the Buccaneers, that just puts them in a situation where they're in trouble. They're gonna be in football purgatory for quite some time. And we'll see what happens with them. They have a lot of moves that they're going to need to make to get back into any sort of contention. Now, Tom Brady. We have to talk about his historical impact on the game. He is by far the greatest quarterback of all time and really the greatest winner of the sport of football. I mean, this dude, by the time, now at this point, he is retired. So he's first in wins with 251. He's first in Pro Bowls with 15. He's first in Super Bowl MVP awards, first in Super Bowl appearances, first in both completions and attempts in his career. Passing yards, 89,000. Passing touchdowns, just one short of 650. In the postseason, he has the most appearances of 20, which is crazy to me. He played for 22 years. He played 22 seasons, and he only didn't see the playoffs 2 times. And one of those times was when he was injured, and I think the other time is his first year when Bledsoe gets hurt and he takes over. Which is crazy. So he sees the playoffs 20 out of 22 years. He was 35-13 in the playoffs, a total of 48 games played, which is also the most. Obviously, Super Bowl wins. He beats every NFL franchise, not just any other every NFL franchise. He has more Super Bowl wins than any other franchise, than any team does ever. Passing yards in the playoffs, 13,400 on the dot. 88 touchdowns, 14 game-winning drives, and 9 fourth-quarter comebacks. Obviously, like the Falcons one is crazy, and so just an utterly impressive career. And it's one of those things where you say, for 20 years, this dude dominated our league, and this dude legitimately kept other people from championships and from reaching their full greatness potential. So Manning is probably en route to the greatest quarterback ever if it's not for the fact that Tom Brady was sitting right there. He stopped Philip Rivers from getting a Super Bowl, at least appearance, if not a win at 2 times. Um, he stopped Ben Roethlisberger from getting more. He's the only person that he didn't stop was Eli Manning. That was the only guy. For some reason, he just couldn't figure out Eli. But just truly shut down the league and made the league go through him for 20 years. And it is, we're never going to see, actually, I'm not going to say never. It's going to be hard to ever see anything like this again. Because you're going to have a fantastic quarterback with a fantastic coach and the ability to build up young players. And I think Mahomes is ultimately going to have to do what Brady did. I think he's going to have to like agree on some pay cuts. And I think his contract 7 years or 10 years. Whatever it is, he might need to renegotiate that down the line to be able to get some talent back on his team, because that's essentially why Brady goes through that drought of championships that he does. It's like he had 3 early on and then 1 for like 7 years. And then he wins the 3 more at the end. But he started taking pay cuts, and which led to those championships again. And so I think Mahomes is going to have to do that. But Mahomes is the only guy in the league right now that could make a run at what Brady has done. But Brady, and I'm not the first person to say this, and I've heard this from a couple of different people today, Brady is the Bill Russell of the NFL at this point. Like, he has now done something that it's really going to be hard to ever match. It doesn't mean he's going to always forever be the greatest player to ever do it, but at this point it means he is. And so he's going to be cemented in NFL history forever. I mean, the fact that you're going to have to play 22 years to get close to his records is hard enough. And even if you have an outstanding decade, you're not even going to come close. Is crazy to think about. So, man, props to Tom Brady. Hats off to Brady. Bravo, sir. You deserve a parade of essentially just good jobs for what you've done in your NFL career. All right, other NFL news that has gone on. Aaron Rodgers saying, I will not end up on the 49ers. Now that Brady has retired and Rodgers says, nope, I'm not going there, cuts off their 2 best quarterback prospects that I think they could go after if they don't want to go with Purdy or Trey Lance. Now, Derek Carr is still out there. That's the only other guy that I could say, like, if you bring in Derek Carr, that's a Super Bowl caliber team. I don't think Purdy is going to be a starter next year. I don't think he should be. And I don't think Lance has what it takes to take his team to the Super Bowl next year. And you only have a couple more years of being able to shell out this much money with this much talent. And so I think you need to make a move on Derek Carr, or maybe go make a move on Lamar Jackson, which I'm interested to see how that offense would work. But really the move that I could see them making that could, I would say, instantly make them the NFC Super Bowl favorites is go get Derek Carr. And then that, like, there you go. There's your move for the offseason, and you're set. So, Aaron Rodgers saying, nope, I will not go to the 49ers, is interesting, but I think that also helps the Niners say, like, all right, no need to waste time going after that, and no need to waste time trying to figure out how we would pay for that either. Because what you don't want is to make the move to go after Rodgers, but to do that, you need to shred money, so you shred the money first, and then he doesn't come to your franchise. Now you're in a horrible place. So that actually probably ends up helping the Niners. The Joe Mixon thing. There's a warrant out for his arrest. For essentially what I read was pointing a gun at a girl. Again, man, that you saw this team in their personality and who they were at the core come out in the trash talk leading up to the Chiefs Bengals game, and then you saw it happen within the Bengals game of them losing their cool and getting dumb penalties and not being able to hold it together, and now you see that this personality runs rampant also outside of the football field. And for Joe Mixon to be the one that was one of the biggest trash talkers the whole year, big dogs of the AFC, it doesn't really surprise me. I talked a little about this next piece in last episode, but I just want to say this again. The Chargers picking up Moore as their new offensive coordinator is going to be so exciting. I think it's going to be truly amazing to see what he can do with a top 4 quarterback at the least in the NFL, rather than a guy that's limited in Dak Prescott. With Herbert, you can pretty much do whatever you want. And so I cannot wait to see what that turns into. And I think that instantly ups their stock in how far they can make it next year. This year, I really wasn't truly ever like, oh, the Chargers could do it this year. Like, there was that ability, the talent is there, but you just, I don't know, I didn't truly believe that. But now with Moore at the offensive coordinator position, now it's one of those like, I believe we can do it. Now with every Chargers season, health is the most important thing. But we'll see what happens. The Josh Allen thing, again, can't stand this guy, but it just continues to unfold, dude. Like, the fact of, yeah, no, I'm going to decline participating in the Pro Bowl because I'm too injured, and then the next day is golfing in Pebble Beach. It's like, dude, I don't like you, and just more reason to not like him. And here's the thing, I'm going to roll back a couple episodes on this one. When the Bills lost, and their GM was kind of talking trash about like, oh yeah, it must be nice to, have a quarterback and a receiver on their rookie deal and and not only do we break down the drafting mistakes that the GM made, but something that I realized this week is when the Chiefs traded up to the 10th pick to get Patrick Mahomes. Do you know who they traded with to get? Is the Bills. So I'm just so over everything surrounding the Bills. Lastly, in the aspect of NFL news, I want to look at something that was I'm not the one that came up with this, and then I think Colin Cowherd last year or 2 years ago was the first one to kind of like hit this nail on the head when it comes to Tom Brady. But check this out. It is so cool to me. This graphic right here. And it's the fact that Tom Brady has 3 Hall of Fame careers. As always, I'll zoom in for you guys who are watching. But from 2001 to 2007, his first 7 years, he has 86 career regular season wins, or actually, that includes playoffs, 197 touchdowns, 26,000 yards, and 3 Super Bowl titles, which in and of itself would get you into the Hall of Fame. And each one of these, I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but each one of these stats has which is more than this person, right? And they're all Joe Namath, John Elway, like they're all very prominent quarterbacks. Then you have the worst title era of his career, but the next 7 years, he still won 73 games. He still had 195 touchdowns. He still had 26,000 yards, and he had a title. That's another Hall of Fame career. If you're gonna put Dan Marino in the Hall of Fame, you got to put him in the Hall of Fame just for that particular era of his career. Then you have the final one, which is the most impressive. 232 touchdowns, 31,000 yards, 3 titles. He did more in 7 years than dudes will do in their entire career. That's the case with each of these 7 years. But this last 7 years is absolutely insane. We're never going to see a 22-year-long great career like this ever again in the NFL. I don't think so. So that's our NFL news today. Some questions and more what? That's his last name, okay? It's funny. I understand. I'm going to take a quick break, get some water, and then we're going to do a little thing with the NBA and some trade rumors and stuff. So we'll be right back on Scotty Might Know. Thank you.
Saga begins. Begin war.
And the music is still going. All right. Hi. Sorry. We're back. We're gonna look at the All-Star teams. If you didn't catch any of that. And so I want to see if I can find. I can see. I see your text. I fixed the problem. I misspelled. Now I'm super flustered. I misspelled NBA All-Star. I was like, why am I not getting any search results? Where is the list? Here we go. Boom. All right. Let's head over here. Okay. So you have the two captains, right? Giannis and LeBron. And they haven't done the draft yet. So we'll kind of see what happens with that. But the starters, I don't have any. I don't know if Kyrie belongs in the starters. I would say maybe remove Kyrie for someone like Lillard. Or I guess it would have to be someone in the East, right? So an East guard. I guess there's really not a ton of East talent in the guard section. Maybe Jaylen Brown. He's been having a pretty good year, but so maybe it should be Kyrie. But obviously Donovan Mitchell deserves to be there. Obviously Zion deserves to be there. Everybody in the starter realm, I have no problem with. These guys have been killing it all year, and I have no issue with that. In the reserve, you have Bam, Jalen, DeMar, Joel Embiid, Paul George, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Super cool that he's in this. I'm super stoked that him, Tyrese Halliburton, and Lauri Markkanen made it. Just for those guys. Also, Domantas Sabonis. Those dudes all making it. I'm super stoked about that for them. Drew Holiday is a crazy one. I guess he snuck in, so that's pretty cool. Jaren Jackson Jr. I don't know. I mean, I guess, are they still the first place team in the West? Either way, they're either first or second. So I guess you gotta maybe pick a second guy from their team, but I don't think he should be there. Damian Lillard, Lauri Markkanen, John Morant, Julius Randle, Domantas Sabonis. Don't talk to me about John Morant needing to be in the Western starters, because who do you take out? Who are the Western starting guards? Curry and Luka. Yeah, no, he's not having a better year than either of those guys, and he's not better than either of those guys, so he should not be a starter. James Harden's not on this list, which Eastern, he shouldn't be in the starters anyway, but let's look at Eastern guards. Drew Holiday and Halliburton, and then DeRozan and Jaylen Brown. Huh. I could see Harden over Drew Holiday and Harden over DeMar DeRozan for sure. I think Reese has been having a great year, and I think he deserves to be there. But those other guys, I could see why. Yeah, Harden not being there is interesting, but that, other than him, I really don't see anybody else that I would say has been quote unquote. No, Devin Booker's been hurt, so never mind. Yeah, no one's really been snubbed out of this year other than the Harden snub. But I could see the argument of why he's not there. All right. So those are the All-Stars for this year. That's awesome. We're going to go to the NBA team tier list, and what we're tiering today is should they make a trade at the deadline? How important is it for them to make a trade, and what does that do for their end result of the season? And so you see here, if I'm going to zoom this in, it looks like it's a little bit blurry on the stream. So I'm going to zoom this in a little bit. We got must, like you must make a trade if you want to make it to the end of the season in terms of championship contention. You should, like, that's probably a good idea. It could propel you, like, oh yeah, that if you made a trade, it could be something that could propel you to championship contention. Sure, like, I don't think it's going to make a difference either way. You definitely don't need it. Or floor it and go, like saying, like, don't even worry about it. I think you're good enough and you can go. That's where I'm going to put the Bucks. I don't think the Bucks need to mess around with any sort of trade stuff. I think it's just, hey, we got Giannis, we got Chris Middleton, we got Drew Holiday. Let's keep everybody healthy and let's go. Same with the Nets. We have made enough moves. We've got Kyrie, we've got Ben, we've got KD. Let's go. The Knicks, sure. There's not a trade, and they don't have the pieces to trade for anyone big or to make any huge impact. And so I don't think they're gonna. And if they make trades, I think it's just to sell, like to get money off of their team, like get big contracts and stuff. So sure, like maybe, and that could set you up better for the future. But the Knicks are still a couple years away. The Raptors, you know what? Here's what we're gonna add below this. We're gonna add a row below, and I know I do this every time we do a tier list, but I'm gonna do it. Sell. This means it's time to tear everything down. Sell, get draft picks, get what you can, get young players for the people that you have, and move on for what you're doing. Same with the Jazz. Like, congratulations, Jazz. You wanted to tank, but you actually started winning games, but you're not going to do anything this year. So don't put yourself in NBA purgatory by continuing to try to compete and getting mid-draft picks and not being able to go anywhere. No free agent is ever going to want to go to Utah. So the only way that you're ever going to try and do anything in the NBA is to draft well. And so you need high draft picks. Sell everybody on your team, get draft picks, get young players, and try and build through the draft. But what you're doing now is not going to work for you. Rockets are another team that I don't think you need it. I think you're building young talent right now. I think you have drafted some pieces well. You have a lot of young talent on your team. I don't think you need it. Let's just develop the guys that we have. The New Orleans Pelicans could propel themselves to championship contention with a good trade. I don't know what that trade looks like, but I think it involves CJ McCollum, and I know they love him over there, and he's been great for them, but he's just not a guy that will help you get to the championship. Now I know you have Zion, I know you have Brandon Ingram, but I think you need a better third. Just the way the NBA is now, you need a better third to get to the finals. Right now, depending on who you face, I just think you're a first or second round exit. But I think a trade could propel them into championship contention if it's the right trade. The Lakers must make a trade if they want to make it anywhere near the championship. It must. And it's got to be Westbrook and those 2 first-round picks for a package of shooters. I've always said Miles Turner and Buddy Hield from Indiana Pacers. The Bulls, sell. You can get good value for everybody on your team right now, because everybody on your team still has value, but your team ain't working for some reason this year. You went from a Cinderella story team putting up crazy numbers last year, and like, why are we as good as we are, to this year just being back to mediocre and bad. But you're dealing with players who have great value on the open market. Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan. Did Zach LaVine make the All-Star game? I didn't see his name. That's another snub. I'll say that's a snub. But LaVine, DeRozan, 2 guys that are All-Star caliber players, and trade them and go, man. Like, start to rebuild it all. Timberwolves, sure, nothing's gonna help you at this point. Like, you can't change anything for this year. The trade you made for Rudy Gobert is one of the stupidest trades in NBA history, and you have to deal with that now. So if you want to make more trades, you can, but you're stuck until Rudy Gobert is off your team. Congratulations. Same with the. You could propel yourself with a good trade, Portland. It would have to be. You need someone to help Dame out. So you need someone that can score, but you also need someone that can play defense. And you need someone who could make your team ready to win. Now, I don't know who's out there that could help with this that's also available. Maybe if the Bulls actually started to sell, you could pick up DeMar DeRozan, because that would actually be a lot of fun. Or, you know what, we'll skip to this one because I think the Miami Heat should also sell everybody on their team. You pick up Jimmy Butler. I think if you want to keep someone Heat and not do a full rebuild, then keep Bam. But you need to sell Jimmy Butler, and that could be another piece that Portland could get to propel. And that's the same with New Orleans. If they picked up Zach LaVine, if New Orleans picked up Zach LaVine, that would be so fun. The Nuggets, you should make a trade. You should. And I know everyone wants to believe that Nikola Jokic is enough. Like, we have him, so we're good. But he's not. And we've seen it for, 4 years straight? 5 years straight that he's not going to be enough on his own. And I don't think you have good enough pieces, but I think you have valuable pieces for others. So you should make a trade for this season's success and for future seasons' success. The Thunder. I wouldn't say you need it. The way that you guys are, you're not at the position to pull the trigger on the big trade that propels your team. You're building through your infinity amount of draft picks that you've picked up over the last 4 years, and those guys are starting to pan out. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander makes his first All-Star team. And you're going in the right direction of developing your young talent. And I think after 2 years, when you figured out which young talent kind of floats to the top, you already have Shea, you already have Chet. From there, it's like maybe you develop one more guy, and then you take those draft picks and those whatever, and you make that final big trade for a big star, or you go after another big young talent with a lot of the draft you have now and develop them, but you don't need it right now. Grizzlies, I don't know who it would be, but they should. Their team is not built for postseason success. Their team is built for regular season hype. They are the Minnesota Vikings of the NBA this year, where they're going to post a great regular season record, and then they're going to get to the playoffs and get bounced. They're not built for the playoffs, and they don't have the pieces needed to win against the quality teams in the West. Dallas, if you want any hope, you must make a trade. You have to start getting Luka some help. And I called it at the very beginning of the year, man, but they got Christian Wood. It's not going to help. This team's not going anywhere. They must make a trade. If you want any hope of making a run at the championship, Spurs don't need it. You're in a full rebuild right now. You don't need to get into the trade market and spend money on someone or trade away assets that you have. You're in full rebuild mode. Suns must, if they want any hope of getting back to the finals, while Devin Booker's still there. I think the moment Devin Booker's next contract hits, he's out. So you better make a trade quick, because everything's broken this year. You guys have screwed it up. Clippers could propel. I feel like there's maybe from those selling teams, Pascal Siakam maybe. Like I say, Zach LaVine's a good option for everybody. That's who the Lakers should go after. Just sell everything for Zach LaVine. But the Clippers could propel themselves with another key trade. For me, I think it would be, if I'm them, I want to go after Pascal. So then I have John Wall. Come playoffs, I have John Wall, Paul George, Kawhi, and Pascal Siakam. That's a pretty put together team. The Warriors, I'm not going to say must, because they just won a championship with this team. But I still think they should. I don't know what it looks like fully, but some combination of James Wiseman and, yes, I'll say it, Draymond Green. It's not going to happen. They're not going to trade Draymond. I kind of wish they would. But James Wiseman, you didn't need him last year for the championship. He has value currently. Take him, a pick or two, and maybe another person or two, and go after somebody that can help develop. Maybe that's where Pascal goes. Or if DeMar DeRozan's getting shopped, man, that would be a great pickup for the Warriors. Same with LaVine or the kid from the Heat, Tyler Hero. But they should make a trade. Because I don't know if Wiseman's going to end up panning out. And I said it at the end of last year. Like, he just keeps getting injured, and he's not developing his body to be big enough. Like, that was the huge thing with, like, AD. He was kind of like a skinnier kid like that, and then he filled out his body, and now he's unstoppable. And I just don't see that happening with Wiseman. Pistons, if you want to, sure. But there's nothing that's going to help you. Kings, you could get propelled to championship contention real quick with the right trade. Surprise story of the year. Pretty much for sports, and all of sports. Cavs, floor it and go, man. I think you guys are primed and ready to take on the East, and it's wide open for you. Celtics, floor it and go. Don't mess around with trades. Don't screw up the chemistry. Y'all are killing it. Sixers, you should. You should. You should get one more guy in there. Because I don't think you're making it past any of these 4 teams without a significant trade. So you should. Hornets, sure. You guys are also in rebuild. Really don't matter. Washington, you are stuck. I don't know. Sell, man. Ooh. Could you imagine if the Wizards started shopping Bradley Beal? That would shake. If Bradley Beal ended up on any of these, 11 teams, they would instantly become like the 76ers. Now you're one of the favorites in the East. The Warriors. I don't know how it would work, but that's not who they need, but that would be fun. The Grizzlies would be a problem. I would actually maybe start to respect them a little bit. The Nuggets would be a huge issue. The Lakers probably become the favorites in the West. Like, sell your team, Washington, for the betterment of the entire league. Sell the players on your team. Magic, sure. I mean, you guys are rebuilding through Paolo, so if you want to pick up some trades or draft assets, sure. Same with the Hawks, dude. You guys ain't going anywhere anytime soon. Pacers, just keep with what you're doing, man. Keep with those young guys. I'm not saying floor and go as in they're on their way to the championship, but just keep, you know what? I'll put you in the don't need it. You don't need it. You're in that realm of like the Spurs. You're all developing young talent and rebuilding right now. Don't mess it up. So those are my thoughts on NBA trade deadline coming up. We'll see what actually happens. I think there's going to be at least 1 or 2 huge moves that shakes up the entire league. But I guess we'll see. We'll take a quick break and then come back, talk a little LeBron, and then that'll be it. So we'll be right back. Thank you. All right, let's do this right this time. Music down, live scene back. All right, so very quickly to end this podcast. LeBron is going to hit the scoring record, the all-time NBA scoring record sometime in the next week. I could see him doing it against the Warriors this week. That would be kind of interesting. But that's right before the Super Bowl. So, I mean, for me, if I was him, I would maybe hold back a little bit and wait until after the Super Bowl, because I think that's on Saturday and the Super Bowl is Sunday. But here's the thing. When LeBron gets this record in this next week and a half, from that point on, he just became 4th all-time in assists. He's going to be 1st all-time in points. For a guy that's not a pass, or a guy that's not a shoot first guy, that is a pass first guy, that is a Swiss Army knife of the NBA, who's always done everything in the NBA as good as you could possibly do it. Once he gets the scoring record, it will then be on the people who are huge Jordan fans to provide the evidence of why Jordan is the greatest basketball player. It will now be on you. You have to make the case to me. I'm sick and tired of trying to defend LeBron. He's going to have the most important record in the NBA. He's going to have the most successful long career in the NFL in the NBA. No one is ever going to come close to his scoring record once he's done scoring points, and it's now going to be on the Jordan people to provide the evidence of why you think Michael Jordan is the GOAT. Because he's not going to have the most points. He's actually going to be behind by a large margin. Actually, Paul Pierce is closer to Michael Jordan in career scoring points than Michael Jordan is to LeBron James. So he's not going to have the most points. He's not going to have the most championships. He's not going to have the most MVPs. He's not going to have the most anything. He's just going to be one of the somewhere between the second to sixth greatest player in the NBA until more guys come and continue to be better than what he was. Now, I'll give it to the Jordan fans. He was the first great... That's not even true, because Kareem existed. He was the first media-accepted great player, because the media hated Kareem, and Kareem hated the media. Same with Bill Russell, dude. Like, the way the media treated Bill Russell was so messed up. But back in those days, you could treat people how you wanted, based on your culture and whatnot. But the first media-accepted great player in the NBA. And all those people are still alive. And they have a ton of nostalgia, and it clouds their judgment on this thing. And congratulations, LeBron's going to pass this scoring record, and now it's on you. Prove it that Jordan is the greatest player. And that's actually what we're going to start doing after the Super Bowl, is I'm going to message all these people that I know that are huge Jordan fans and say, all right, what's your evidence? And then what we're going to do on this podcast is go through and talk why your evidence doesn't prove it. And that's going to be my whole goal with what we do with that series. And so LeBron was going to pass Kareem. It's going to be an all-time great sports moment. And he will be solidified as the greatest basketball player to ever play. And we will go from there. So it's going to be a fun next 2 weeks in sports. We get the LeBron passing Kareem. We get the Super Bowl. And, not to mention, we're starting to gear up for baseball spring training. I'm going to have a couple of guests on coming up soon, and we're going to kind of do our predictions for the MLB season. So it's going to be a fun next couple weeks and a fun next couple months in sports. And I cannot wait to continue to kind of talk about it all and analyze it all with you guys. So thank you for coming on for episode 7 and interacting with it. I cannot wait for the Super Bowl, and we'll see what lies ahead in these next couple weeks. But until then, have a great week. Have a great weekend, and we will see you all on Monday. Peace.